Hey, 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 you're now tuned in to Underdog Talk. I'm your host, Eric Jones Jr., the underdog with the heroic heart, and I have conversations with successful underdogs. And today I have Miss Christine Errico, which I love because, my name is Eric, so it's something similar. She's a confidence and transformation coach. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Eric, and thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for coming on and thank you for being able to share. I won't get into your story just yet, but we have somewhat of a similar story. So it's super dope to see another person that didn't let something that they couldn't control stop them from being great, stop them from being a successful underdog. So today's episode is brought to you by Christian DeWine. That's my clothing line, me and my son. And if you use the promo code Underdog Talk, Underdog is spelled UNDERDAWG. Talk, you get 15% off. We got t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies. Definitely about to have the hoodies and sweatshirts. My son is so funny. He was like, I was telling him I'm about to record. He's like, yeah, you got 3 jobs. I'm like, what jobs? He's like, you got our clothing line, you got the podcast, and you're a teacher. I'm like, I guess because you don't do no work. I do all all the work. So yeah, I guess I do got 3 jobs, even though it's both of our business. But he's only 8, so time will come with that. Let's get into today's conversation. Uh, Tell us where it started. Tell us how it started. What life looked like when it started for you.
Absolutely, yeah. So I was born with a bilateral cleft lip and palate, and what that means is that the roof of my mouth and my lip did not properly form when I was born. This created a gap from my upper lip into my nose and my palate. As a result, I couldn't eat properly, I couldn't drink, I couldn't nurse, I couldn't. There was a lot of things I couldn't do, including talk properly. So I had more than 20 surgeries in my life to repair my lip, close the palate, and be able to function normally with eating, drinking, and speaking. My first surgery was when I was about 2 months old. I really don't remember it. And then I had a lot of surgeries when I was like 3 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, all the way through school, all the way through high school. I had some surgeries. My last surgery was when I was in my late 20s, and that was actually my second bone graft to put the bone in my upper jaw for implants. So one of the most memorable things about having all these surgeries is that, and this is why I'm also an underdog, is my teachers told me I would never amount to anything because I missed so much school from my surgeries. And they also thought that having a facial difference meant I lacked intelligence. So neither of them obviously is true. And as I got older, um, I realized that I wasn't going to let my disability or my facial difference hold me back. It's actually quite ironic is that I denied that there was anything wrong with me for most of my life. For 42 years, I said there's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. I'm normal. I'm just like the other kids. It wasn't until I actually found a Facebook group for other adults with a cleft lip and palate like me that I started to realize it's time to start denying and start accepting who I am and my facial difference and what I've been through in life. So that kind of made me open up a little bit more. I started volunteering with Smile Train, helping them spread their message and their communication. And I decided to become a coach to help other adults with a cleft lip and palate learn to overcome the obstacles they've endured, social anxiety, improving their confidence, and improving their sense of self. So that's where I am today. And my biggest achievement so far was giving my TEDx talk in March of 2022.
I love it. I love everything about it because it's similar to my story.
Hmm.
That's why when you had wrote and you wrote down what your story was, I was like, oh yeah, I want to hear this
Hmm.
because I had my first surgery at 6 months old. I've had surgery. I didn't miss a lot of school because I just had got a cast on my arms. So I didn't miss a lot of school, but like when you said people the teachers was like, "Oh, because you look a certain way." It's like, what does my arms
Hmm.
got to do with my reading, my writing, my intelligence? What does my limp
Exactly.
arms got to do with me having heart? Like it has the way you look has nothing to do how smart or whatever smart looks like. I don't even think smart has a look. because I definitely don't look like I'm probably a teacher. And it's like, I don't know what a teacher, I don't know what you thought a teacher looked like, but I'm me. And when you're yourself,
Right.
it's like, it don't matter what you look like, where you come from. Like, you can be smart, you can be rich, you can be whatever you want to be. And it's like, I never understood that with people. Like, because what?
Hmm.
That makes no sense. Or like, for us, sometimes people think we're weak, and they'll try to
Hmm.
talk to us in
Yes.
no way, or who are you talking to? I'm like, I'm I definitely, like, I'm not one that's like, you gonna disrespect. Like, who are you? Like, what makes you think that you should talk to me that way? Because I look this way? No, you're not gonna talk to me. So I definitely, like, understand that. That's one thing that
Hmm.
hurts me the most. And I love how you said, you know, you heard what the people said. No, you ain't gonna amount to nothing. You're gonna just be old regular
Hmm.
Christine that graduated, live at home in the hometown, work a regular job, get your little pension, all that good stuff. It's like, no. And you help other people that's like you. See, I help, like, young people. I don't know. I've never not thought of it, but I just
Hmm.
go for younger people, and a lot of younger people that I help don't look like me, but it helps because they like, why do you look like that? I want to know more about you. I'm going to listen to you. I think even the same with you, like when people see you and they know you're a speaker, they're like, she seems interesting. Let me see what she has to talk about. So, how was school? How was school actually being in the school, like with kids, not just the teachers, but how was school for you?
School was horrible. I I mean I don't have any good memories of school. It was just endless bullying. I didn't have very many friends at all. Nobody wanted to be my friend because they thought what I had was contagious, or they just didn't want to be seen with me because they thought I looked like a monster, and they thought I was, just disgusting. So nobody wanted to be with me. I was bullied so many times. I was called horrible names. I was called monkey face. I was called, children said that my mother had sex with a monkey. They said my mother got kicked in the stomach when she was pregnant. Even I overheard adults bullying and saying things about me. They thought I couldn't hear, but I heard, mom saying, "Oh well, I'm glad she's not my kid. I would have left her at the hospital." And so school was horrible. I mean, aside from the teachers, they didn't do anything to stop the bullying because the bullying would take place in the playground or after school, and it was terrible. It was actually one memorable event. I was in seventh or eighth grade, right before high school. I just had a surgery. It was the summertime. It was time to go back to school, and I had bandages on my lip. And my mother was very strong, and she was like, "You're not going to let this hold you back. You're not going to, you're normal. There's nothing wrong with you. You can go to school. Your arms, your legs, your eyes, your ears, everything's fine. You can go to school. I don't care if you have bandages on your lip." So I went to school with bandages on my lip, and the kids actually called me Hitler. And that was so painful, and it was so hard to hear. And that was how I really learned to deal with the bullying, by just shutting down and pretending I didn't hear it and pretending it didn't bother me. But that didn't help at all. It only made it worse because then I just ignored it, and you can't ignore emotions. They're going to come out some way or another.
Yeah. I don't know. I had school was fun, but I had the bullying. And if I was you,
Hmm.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I've been whooping some people ass. Like, you're not gonna talk to me any old way. You said what? My mama who? Man, I'm fighting. I'm swinging on everybody, the adults. I might not swing on you, but oh, you said what? Oh, okay, I'm coming for your head too. Like, so for me, like, I had to learn how to joke. Like, I had to learn how to
Yeah.
joke. Like, if I didn't, it would have been horrible. I probably would have had the same kind of experience, but I learned how to joke back. And I had friends. I had friends that, like, if you talked about me, they ready. They own it.
Hmm.
We fighting. Like, and so I had people that would stick up for me, but I stuck up for myself. I got a smart mouth. I've always spoke my mind, so it didn't matter that my arms were shorter, I looked different. You're never gonna talk to me any kind of way or just think you're gonna joke. So I've always had kind of that confidence to come back at people. So
Right.
I did. It's like, you look stupid joking on a dude with the short arms and talking about his arms, and like, so now you look dumb. So people wouldn't really joke on me as much, but I did get in fights. Like, I definitely, like, I'm not, I don't know, because where I was raised, I'm raised from a small town. I got friends from around the way, like, that's kind of what I knew. So it's like, you're not gonna talk about me and think that you're gonna bully me. I do remember once though. It was sixth grade. This kid was joking on. I don't even remember what he was saying, but I started crying, and I remember I was like, I don't know why I was crying. Like, he just
Mm-hmm.
hit that day. Like, he hit me, and I was like, man. And from that day forth, I just was like, nah, I'm not gonna let what somebody says
Yeah.
about me make me feel a certain way. So I definitely, understand school. I didn't like school. I went to
Yes.
school for the friends. I didn't go for the education. So I definitely understand your pain, because it is very
Yes.
painful. Um,
Yes.
and now being a teacher, and you're a teacher as well. Like, when you
Yes.
see kids, it's like, okay, they might be going through something, because I used to go through
Mm-hmm.
stuff and people didn't even know. And if maybe somebody asked me like, hey, what's wrong, you all right, they could have been able to help, and maybe I would have liked school, but
Right.
that doesn't happen. So you get out of school. What's life like
Yes.
as an adult? Like,
Oh,
yep, how's
life
life?
as an adult was hard. Even high school was hard. I didn't have, in high school when you start dating, you start thinking about, going, romantic partnerships and everything like that. I didn't date. All my friends in high school were dating. I didn't date. Again, nobody wanted to go out with me because they thought, I was disgusting. I actually went to my high school prom with a guy, the son of a guy, the son of someone that my mother worked with. She wanted me to have the whole prom experience, so she talked to one of her coworkers, and they had a son, and son agreed to go with me. And I remember feeling like so humiliated that I had to have someone, go to the prom that I didn't, I wasn't even friends with. I met the guy once before, and that was it. So I hated high school too. I mean, the girls were just, typical mean girls, but worse because of how I looked. Um, I graduated high school. I decided I wanted to go work in business. So I went to college. But the biggest thing is, I didn't start dating until I was in my 20s. I didn't have any confidence to date. I felt like nobody's going to want to date me. So when I did start meeting guys who were interested in me, I compromised myself, and if they were interested, I would go out with them, even if I wasn't interested in them, because my thought was like, well, I'm not going to get anything better. I'm not going to meet anybody better. This is the best I can do. I better take it when I can. And that type of thinking actually led me into a marriage that, and it was actually abusive. It ended up being an abusive marriage. I divorced him, fortunately, but I compromised myself. I married him because I wanted to get away from home. But I also thought, here's this guy. He's going to marry me. He's going to, we're going to move out of New York where I grew up. And life is going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. And I was like, yeah, it's okay if I don't feel the same way about him. This is my chance to get out. This is, the only chance I get. What I learned from that situation is no matter what, don't compromise yourself. Don't compromise what you believe in, and don't compromise anything, because you are worth getting everything you want. And there is people out there who do genuinely care for you, and you never have to settle just because of how you look, a facial difference, a birth difference. You never have to settle. So, moving forward in life, I was married for 10 years. I actually eventually did get divorced. I got the courage to leave him and get divorced. And that's when I really started working with a therapist to just start to process all of my childhood trauma, everything that I've been through. Like I said, I denied having a cleft lip and palate. I denied that there was anything wrong with me. I thought I was normal. I thought, yeah, I was just born this way, but I never talked about it. I didn't want to talk about it. I was so ashamed that I did not want to talk about my cleft. Even in therapy, I still wouldn't talk about it because I had that much shame in me. It wasn't until a couple of months after my mother died, she passed away about 5 years ago, that I was bored one day and started searching Facebook for cleft lip and palate just to see what I found. And I found a Facebook group with over almost 1,000 other members who had a cleft lip and palate. I joined the group, and that's when everything changed for me. I started being more open. I started talking a little bit more about my cleft, and that's when I started to really accept myself. So I'll leave it there for a moment, take a break, 'cause I'm sure you probably have questions.
Yeah, I don't know. I was different. Like when it came to relationships, I was a little different.
Hmm.
I was always a charming guy, definitely mannish, a flirt. I don't know. That's just always been me. So I didn't really get in relationships. I talked to like high school. I was shy. I didn't really. I'm like, you don't really want to talk to me. I just didn't trust it. I don't know. I missed out on a couple girlfriends in middle school and high school just because I was like, I don't know. And I don't know why I felt that way. I just didn't believe that they really wanted to go with me. I thought it was like a joke or something. But then in college, that's when I like got the confidence. Like, okay, I can get some ladies. So I was married too. Got a divorce. Um, but I think throughout life, though, I oh, all right. I
Yeah.
don't know what happened. I think my connection messed up.
Okay. Oh, we're
Yeah,
here now.
yeah. I just got to do some editing. That's all. So, like you get comfortable with like who likes you. Like, oh, you like me, I'm gonna accept that, and it's like, all right, cool. But then it's like, you're not the right person. Like, I don't even really like you like that. It's like, so I definitely understand that part of it. And then I like that you were able to leave. Sometimes people get stuck in a situation and they get comfortable and it's like, oh, this, I ain't dead. So, everything's all, and you keep being in situations. It don't have to be necessarily physically abusive. It could be verbally abusive. It could just be toxic in general. And sometimes we just
Hmm.
get comfortable, stay there, and then we're not able to be the person that we really are because we're somebody else in that relationship. So definitely understand that. But I like what you did. You said, your mom passed away. Sorry to hear that. And you were like, oh, let me look up. Let me see. Let me check it out.
Hmm.
Because sometimes
Hmm.
people don't check out. There's other people in the world like you. It don't matter if you
Right.
have a physical look, if you have whatever, however you think. There's other people. So community is always a good thing. That's how I kind of got started with speaking, getting in the community. They were like, oh, you got a dope story. You should be a speaker. What's that? I'm like, a speaker? What are you talking about? And they're like, like a motivational. And I'm like, okay, those dudes come in and got the suit on. Like, I ain't wearing no suit. Like, but then you get to see like people now, like, social media helps you see people all over. So you're like, oh, he's speaking. He don't do this and he don't, and because you community is very
Yes.
important. So
Yes.
you joined this community. You said you started being yourself. You started asking questions. You started being the authentic you and understanding who you were and like, okay, let me accept that I have this situation, but that situation doesn't stop me from being whatever I want to be. So you join this community. What's the next things that happen to you?
Well, that's really a great question. I joined the community, and it took me a while. It was about a year. I laid low. I didn't really post too much, but I was like, I finally found my people. I found people that I can relate to, and little by little, from talking to them and realizing that we were able to share, experiences. They people went through the bullying. We were talking about what it's like, what we felt. I started talking about my own cleft and my own experiences. And I realized that in talking about it, it helped me accept who I was and it helped me accept that I had a cleft lip. And that was a big shift for me because, like I said, growing up, I didn't talk about it. My mother and I talked about it as much as we needed to for the medical aspect of it, going to doctors, hospital surgeries, but I never talked about the emotional side of it, the shame I felt, or the lack of self worth, or the disgust, or how hard it was for me growing up, or the bullying. So when I was in this group and I was able to share myself and relate to others and have others relate to me and talk about it, it was like, oh, this isn't. It's not a bad thing. It's not bad to feel that shame because I look this way, or it's not bad to feel, hurt and upset because I was bullied. So little by little, I kept on accepting myself, and I started getting involved working with Smile Train. So Smile Train is a global nonprofit organization, and they train medical professionals all over the world to do these cleft surgeries for areas that don't have the resources or the trained doctors. I volunteer with them and I help strengthen their global communications, their marketing message, and help strengthen the cleft community within the United States. So by volunteering with them, that helped me also accept myself, accept my cleft, uh, come out of my shell a little bit more, and start to figure out really who I was and my love. I've always loved helping people, but it was never around my cleft. It was never around, I know I didn't talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it. So I would help in other ways. That's why I became a teacher at first. But little by little, I realized that accepting myself and talking about my cleft helps me be true and honest and who I am. And I was happier because I wasn't hiding. I wasn't denying who I was. I wasn't pretending to be something I'm not. And I wasn't using all that energy to hold into the anger and the shame. By letting it go, I just felt like, okay, now I can really live. Now I can really enjoy myself and not have to worry about what people think or how I look or are they staring at my scars. Because if they are, they are. That's their problem. It doesn't, I don't care anymore because I'm okay with who I am. So that kind of led, with Smile Train, it's been an amazing experience. I love working with them. I actually got the chance to go to Kenya, visit the hospitals there where they do the surgeries, visit some of the children that had the surgeries. And then in May of this year, I went to Colombia and visited hospitals in Colombia and children and patients that also received surgeries there. So it's been really fantastic, and just continuing to be part of the community, connecting with others has helped me become, more of who I'm supposed to be and who I am, and really figure out who I am.
I love it. I love you said you're okay with being you. Like you have
Yes.
to understand that it's okay to be yourself, because when you're not yourself, like life isn't enjoyable. Like when
Right.
like with us, we go through, kind of identity crisis because we look a certain way and we want to kind of please others, but then it's like, that don't really work out for me. It's like when I was a kid
Hmm.
and I didn't drive because I was scared that, like, nobody really knew. Like I didn't care that I didn't drive when I was a kid because I was scared. So I always rode with my friends and did what they did. It's like it was cool. But then as an adult, when I actually started driving, when I could leave somewhere because I'm like, this ain't me or this
Hmm.
ain't fun, or whatever, it, like, some of those friendships left because it was like those people, I wasn't who I wanted to be, who I needed to be, or who I was
Right.
with them. And it wasn't like, oh, we're not friends or nothing. It just, life happened. But that's kind of how it is when you kind of find yourself, when you're
Yes.
like you. Like I like to color and paint and different stuff. Everybody don't like to do that. I like
Hmm.
podcasting and different stuff, and everybody don't. And I always tell people, everybody doesn't like Jesus. You're not gonna like me. Everybody not
Hmm.
gonna like me. I don't really care if you don't like me. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And when I realized that, like, I was able to be a teacher, I was able to go speak and be a basketball coach and all these different things because I had that confidence. Like, this is who I am. Like, this is
Hmm.
what I do. Like, I'm not gonna not go coach basketball because somebody gonna be like, oh, that guy got short arms and my team winning. We won a championship. What are you talking about? My arms ain't got
Right.
nothing to do. My arms ain't got nothing to do with nothing. We didn't win a championship because of my brain, because of my heart and what I'm
That's
saying
right.
to kids. So just like with what you said, like you stuck with your community, which is wonderful. Like because everybody needs an advocate, Like you got,
Yes.
somebody to talk, and they're like, oh, they got what I got, and they're okay with it. Now, somebody that sees you or somebody that watches a video or whatever, they're like, oh man, I know somebody like this. Let me show them the video. And now they got confidence because you have the confidence because you're in that community. I I've never really dove in that community for myself. Like, I've met some people, talked to some people, maybe different disabilities, physical, but never like mine. I see people, now, like, how, on ESPN they'll have somebody with a disability playing, and I'm like, where were y'all at when I was young? I've been,
Yes.
I was hooping. I'm like, I've been hooping. Where was y'all at when I was young? I could have been an ESPN story. I promise. When I was a kid, I'm like, man, why can't I get on ESPN? Like I used to see that, and I'm like, man, I used to hate that. But Now as an adult, when I see it, it's like, that's dope. Like, it's a kid,
Mhm.
he has one arm. He's going to a D1 college. Like, he would dust me in basketball because he's taller than me and he could dunk on me.
Mhm.
But I would give him a run for his money. But just seeing somebody like that, like that makes me feel good. Like seeing somebody like you go out and not allow what you look like or what people say about you stop you from doing that. So as how did you become a coach? And I was sitting here thinking, I was listening to you. I was like, I know how she became a coach because the confidence came from life. The transformation came from life. Like you lived these things. But how did you get into coaching? Like the business part of coaching.
That's a really great question, and I'll be totally upfront and just to touch a little bit on what you said. I can relate to growing up and not having any role models that looked like us. I mean, there were a couple of, there's a couple of stars, Stacey Keach and the singer with the Pussycat Dolls and Peyton Manning, but they weren't really around when I was growing up, and I never saw anybody with a cleft, so I felt so alone. So to see role models and to I think that it's really hard when you don't have a role model or somebody that looks like you do growing up, like you said, with basketball player. But to answer your question, how I became a coach, the more work I did with Smile Train volunteering, and that really pushed me into the advocacy role. And I met so many people with a cleft lip and palate, and just by being more active in the group, I realized there was this really big missing area where adults with a cleft lip and palate like me still have all of these emotional and mental challenges that they're trying to overcome. We've been through traumatic childhood. We've been bullied. We're still bullied at times. We're still looked at differently or passed over for jobs, even today sometimes. We still deal with all of those issues. And there's medical support to repair our lip and do the surgeries. There's no emotional support to help us build that confidence, help us get over that anxiety and build that self esteem and build that self worth. And what I realized is that I can combine my teaching experience, what I've learned from teaching and what I've learned about, and, you know, those facts and my love of helping people and bring it together in a coaching capacity to help people become better and overcome their challenges. So whether it's social anxiety, confidence, the shame, wanting to have more self worth, anything. So that's how I started coaching and just building on what I've learned, using the techniques and the tips that I've learned growing up. Well, not even growing up, because like I said, most of my transformation has been within the last 5 and 6 years as an adult. But thinking back to how things were, making those connections and telling my clients, hey, I see you, I got you, I know what you're going through, I've been through that too. Let's get through this together. Let's rebuild that confidence and get rid of that shame together. We can do it. So that's kind of how I got into coaching.
Understand. I love that coaching. Like when you speak, coaching kind of that idea always comes. I think I'd rather be a basketball coach, but I understand like when you inspire and impact people, you coach people through
Yes.
conversation. Like if you
Hmm.
got a friend going through something and you like, oh, and sometimes with me, it's like uh that little smile inside you, like, ooh, I get to talk about stuff I like. And it's good to
Yes.
help it's good to help other people. And I think just working with kids, maybe that way of coaching for me, but I don't necessarily want to do coaching, but I know the
Hmm.
importance of it because you gotta have a coach. Like as
Yes.
whoever you are, like Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson probably had a coach. My Oprah Winfrey, Denzel Washington, Tom Brady, like Steph Curry, like all these great people that we see, they have coaches and they have
Yes.
coaches to help them see what they don't see, to help them to say stuff that they don't necessarily want to hear, but they need to hear. Because you want a coach that's relatable. You want a coach that's been
Yes.
through similar things to you because they're gonna keep it real with you. Sometimes you gotta keep it funky with somebody and tell them how it is, and that's their way to get over it. Because it's like life. Life gonna
Hmm.
keep it funky with you too. It's gonna smack you in your face. Somebody in your family might die. You might get in an accident, COVID, whatever happens, and it's like, are you just gonna sit there and let it, take you out, or are you gonna go and fight back? And that's kind of how a coach helps you. It's like you going through something. You wanna see the next level. You right there, but you're missing something, and that's what the coach is for. That's what a mentor is for. That's what you're for your community, and that's wonderful to see. Someone that's wanting to help emotionally and mentally so people can have a better life physically, because it starts from the inside. It don't it's
Absolutely.
all about both of us understand that, like, if we didn't have the strong mindset that we have, if we didn't have the heart that we have, we wouldn't be talking right now. We'd be doing
Hmm.
something else. But we didn't allow our situation. We didn't allow, like, we both were born with it. It wasn't like, oh, when I was 9, something happened. No, it started out the gates. Like, here you go, here goes, here you go. And you're like, okay, and you don't realize what you go through is for other people. So,
Right.
when did you realize you were born that way to help other people? Like, when did that light bulb, like, ooh, I get it now?
It was really a slow journey. It started when I joined the Facebook group, and over the course of a couple of years, my work with Smile Train, and it was really about 2 years ago when I realized, like, oh, hey, I was burned out on teaching. I was tired of it. I've been doing it for almost 12, 13 years, and I realized, hey, there's this need to help people become better, overcome their shame, and improve their confidence. And I've been down that journey. And while I'm not there yet, my journey is far from over. I'm far enough along that I know I can help other people get there and be happier and live a more fulfilling life. And that's when I realized, like, okay, I can just start helping people. I started doing some research. I became a certified life coach, went through the training, and having a business background, setting up the business aspect of it was really easy, and being part of the community, and just reaching out to the people I knew and letting them know, hey, I'm here to help. And it's been fabulous working with so many different people and helping them build their confidence, helping them realize that you don't have to live unhappy, you don't have to live sad, you don't have to live held hostage by how you look. Because if you just change your mindset, change how you think about things, there is a whole world that is so wide open to you of happiness and abundance and everything that you want. So that's how I kind of became a coach, and I love what I'm doing. I love helping people. I love seeing their transformation and seeing them reach their goals.
Yeah, that's dope that you said it.
Hmm.
It just happened not too long ago, that aha moment where it's like,
Yes.
it took me till I was 30. I think
Yeah.
that was like around the first time I started speaking, and I was like, oh, I get it. Because somebody came up, like a couple people was like, man, your story was inspiring, it helped, and I'm like, really? And then I was like, okay, I get it. Okay, God, this is why I had to go through all that bullshit that I thought was bullshit, throughout those years, but it was really lessons. Like, we learned a lot through going through
Yes.
through our different stuff, because sometimes our adjustments are different than everybody else's adjustment. Like, if I
Yes.
need to open something, the way I open it might be different than most humans. My adjustments are different. So once you learn that anything that you go through is a lesson, and you can learn from it, and you can be better, that's what really helps. That's what a coach is. That's what this
Hmm.
podcast kind of is about. Like, you listening to people's story and seeing nobody's perfect. Just because people got this amount of money or they live a certain way, they've been through some shit. They've been through
Hmm.
life, and it's punched them in the face, and you just got to get up. I'm sure it's been
Yes.
many a times in life you're like, man, skip this. I'm over this. I'm ready. This is just dumb. Like, why am I going through this? Like, what the heck? And then it's like, no, I'm here for a
Hmm.
reason. Like, it's something,
Hmm.
I don't know what it is. And then when that happens, it's like every day you get to help at least one person. That's like the that's enjoyable to me. I'm sure
Hmm.
it's the same with you. So
Absolutely.
so you don't have to get like into like deep into your coaching, but kind of how do you, Christine, help someone that will be in your coaching program? Like, what do you do? How does that work?
That's a really good question. So I start off by having, a call with the person, with the potential client when they contact me, and I ask them what they want to work on. I find out what their biggest issues are, what's holding them back from being happy, from reaching their goals, and then we work together. I create a plan with them, and we work together to overcome those issues. Most of the time, it's issues like building self confidence, feeling dealing with social anxiety, wanting to go out and meet people, just wanting to get rid of the shame, or managing those emotions. For a lot of us, we didn't have that outlet to deal with our emotions growing up. We were either told to stuff it, like I was, or just not know what was going on. So as a result, those emotions are still there. There's a lot of anger, there's a lot of shame, a lot of just triggering events. Sometimes if we see somebody sees somebody with a cleft, that could trigger. For me, my trigger is hospitals. Anytime I have to go in a hospital, it's really uncomfortable for me because of all the memories and all the surgeries. So I come up with like a three-point plan that I work with people to help them build their confidence by learning how to interact with people, setting boundaries, saying no, asking for what you want. You mentioned earlier how you used to love to just be a people pleaser and help people on and go along with whatever the crowd wanted. I was a major people pleaser. Because I wanted to be accepted and liked. I did whatever anybody wanted. My few friends that I had, especially in college, I had a little more friends. They wanted to go out drinking until 4 in the morning. It didn't matter if I had class the next day. I would do it because I didn't want to be rejected. But living like that, living like a people pleaser, it compromised me, and it turned me into someone I wasn't, and I didn't know who I was. So I work with my clients to help them realize that they don't have to be a people pleaser. They can be their true self and not be afraid of rejection, not be afraid of telling people no, and also how to have the confidence to ask for what they want and work through the fear that they're not going to get laughed at, they're not going to get judged, and if they are, it's okay. It's not going to hurt them because we've been through so much more than just someone laughing at us and someone judging us and someone telling us no. So I also work on managing emotions with my clients. Just the other day, I was talking to a client. I was actually talking to a friend, and she got very triggered by something from her past. And so I helped her get grounded. I work on mindfulness, uh, be living in the present, because it's so easy to live in the past and be full of anger or hatred that we were born this way, or full of anger and hatred that people treat us the way we do, and that there's not more role models out there that look like us. So by learning to manage those emotions, it helps build the acceptance, and it helps us realize that our emotions don't have to control us. We control, we're in control of our emotions. So it's working with other people, it's managing those emotions, and it's mindfulness. One day at a time, being grateful for what we have, that we're here, that I have, the ability to be an advocate, that I have wonderful friends now, wonderful community, and not worrying about the past anymore because that's done, and not worrying about the future because it's not here yet. And just living in the moment is just, it makes you happier. So I come up with that plan and I work with the clients, and I'm very client oriented based on their needs that they have. Sometimes you go through examples. Clients says, well, yeah, I went out to dinner, the other night and my food came out wrong, and I took the chance and I sent it back and I said, this is not what I wanted, which maybe in the past they would have just taken it and not said anything. So we work through examples like that. We work through daily exercises, issues that they may have with family that relate to how they're trying to improve.
I love it. I love it. I usually ask for guests to say tips, but you gave a whole bunch of tips. So they just listen to the end part of the episode, and they get all the tips that they need. I love what you said, but at the beginning you were like, "What triggers you?" And people don't get it.
Yes.
I am
Yes.
terrified of needles. Like I
Oh,
am
yes.
terrified. Like people don't get it. Like, oh man, you ain't been to the hospital, you ain't had the surgeries,
Hmm.
you ain't been poked as many times as I've
Hmm.
been poked, and the vein ain't been found. Like I hate them. Like I had
Yes.
to get my teeth pulled out. I don't. I'm like, no. You got the needle, and the last time I did it, the lady poking me and poking and all, and I'm just like, I close my eyes because I'm like, I gotta get this tooth out because it was so painful. So I had to suck it up. But like I'm very like, and I don't like hospitals either. Like,
Mm-hmm.
nah, I'm good. Like, I don't really need,
Mm-hmm.
no, I don't like, because we've been there so much. Like, people don't
Yes.
think that. It's not like if somebody's in the hospital, like, you got to be real, real close to me for me to come visit. It's nothing towards you. I just don't
Yes.
like hospitals. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't like the
Yes.
white sheets. I don't like none of that.
Yeah.
The food,
Yeah.
the smell, how cold it is. Like,
Yes.
I hate it. But I
Yes.
love what you said, like how you help people, and it's because of what you went through, is what you've overcome, and
Mm-hmm.
it starts with the mind, and it starts from within inside you, and if you
Mm-hmm.
don't work on within inside you, it don't matter how handsome you are, how beautiful you are, none of that. If like you could lose weight, you could get a big butt, you could get you could get muscles, whatever the case may be, but if you're not who you are on the inside, then it doesn't really matter. And we both understood that you had to work on the inside rather than work on the outside.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
can I get a quote? I need a quote. It could be your quote. It could be whatever the case. Some you read, but I need a quote from you. And then after the quote, tell people how they can reach you, how they can find you online.
Okay, so I actually have two quotes. My favorite quote is my favorite Disney princess Elsa, and I say let it go. Let go of the past, let go of the emotions, just let it go. But my other quote is also just be yourself. Be true, follow your heart, follow your instinct, follow your gut, and you will never go wrong. And so I would love to connect with people, the community. I love to talk to people. I'd love to find out if, we'd be a good match to work together. I can help you. So you can find me on Facebook, CoachChristineErrico.com, or on Instagram at Christine_Errico.com. Very easy to find. You can also, I know we didn't really get to talk about my TED Talk. I gave a TED Talk on growing up and living with a cleft lip and palate. If you look for me on YouTube, the TED Talk is there. Um, so I invite you to watch it and just send me a message on social media and I'll reply.
We didn't. I love those quotes. Very simple
Hmm.
quotes, but they're very powerful. And being a kindergarten teacher, I definitely know the song "Let It Go" because you got to play it every now and then.
Of
And
course.
about being yourself. I'm. It's for me. I made a shirt because I got a clothing line out, and it said "a lovable asshole." I know that doesn't fit everybody's life, but that's me. I accept who I am. I'm a very kind person, but I'm gonna keep it funky with you, and that's just
Hmm.
who I am. And you found who you are, and you're able to help people. And we definitely didn't talk about your TEDx. That is something dope. We can so you don't have to talk about the what you well you can talk a little bit what you talked about because you said it's the title, but how did that opportunity happen for you?
Well, I'll try to keep this short. I know we're running a little bit out of time. I always wanted to be a TED speaker ever since I first saw my first video. I don't know, probably about 20 years ago. I saw the videos. I always liked them. I always wanted to be a TED speaker. I never thought I would have talked about my cleft lip and palate. I thought I would talk about teaching, accounting, something like that, because that was back then. I was in denial about who I was. Once I started doing the advocacy work and really figuring out who I was and ready to talk about myself and talk about my club, I realized I can share my message with the world. But more importantly, the society and the public didn't know much about cleft lip and palate, and I wanted to educate. And I said, what better platform than the TED platform to educate and to tell people about cleft lip and palate and what it's like and what we go through. I was inspired actually also by another person I met in the group. She has a cleft lip and palate, and she gave a TED talk, and she kind of inspired me. So I applied. It took 3 tries before I was accepted. Refining the application, refining my talk, keep trying. But that's what I am. I persevere and I'm determined, and I don't give up easily. So I finally got accepted. It was the experience of a lifetime. It was incredibly hard work, but so rewarding and so exhilarating to be able to get up on that stage and share my experience and talk about what I've been through, talk about my work with Smile Train. I went to Kenya, I visited the hospitals there and see what I saw and the people I met. it was just a fantastic experience. And the best part was after my talk was over and I got to mingle with the audience, having so many people come up to me and tell me that they never knew what was involved with having a cleft lip or palate. They may have briefly heard about it, they may have seen people with it, but they never knew firsthand experience. So talking about that and feeling like, okay, I've educated people today. I did my what I wanted to do. That was just, my heart was full and my heart was overflowing with that, and it was amazing.
That's dope. I can't wait till I get the board so I got to clapping hands. But that's so why you did the TEDx talk, because you watched them. You envisioned it, when you didn't even know you envisioned it, because you never knew that you would talk about what you're going to talk about, but you watched them. You were prepared for that talk years ago because you already watched it. And like you said, it was hard, but it was rewarding.
Yes,
And life is hard,
yes,
but when you get through
yes,
that hard, life is rewarding. So
absolutely.
kudos to you. Thank you again so much for giving us knowledge. I kind of didn't really know what it was. I'm not saying it because I don't want to mess it up. I'm bad with words, so I haven't said it the whole time. It's nothing against. I just don't like jacking words up if I don't have to. So it's dope that were able to share and tell us, and have another person that's similar to me, that's an underdog, that's like, okay, I don't care what you got to say. I don't care what you think. I know my own ability. And when you know your own ability, it don't matter what other people say or what they, results are gonna, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. If you put, the
Hmm.
number, if you do what you're supposed to, you'll get what you're supposed to. So,
Absolutely.
any last words before we get out of here?
Thank you very much for having me. And I just love to tell all of your listeners, believe in yourself, stay strong. You can do anything you want. Don't let your limited don't let yourself hold you back. If you want something, go after it. Ask for help. There's no shame in asking for help. And you are so worth it, no matter what. And if Eric and I could overcome the things we did, anybody can.
And on that note, peace.